Lauren here to tell us what time it is. Yeah, well, come on in, baby. I do have some wonderful news for you all. Thank you so much for coming out today. But you're going to be so glad you did. Because do you know that the same power and presence that put the galaxies into their spin and inspires the acorn to grow into a mighty oak tree works through each and every one of us? It's that same force that helps us to transform hatred into love and compassion into bigger compassion, or judgment into compassion. So we will sing our theme song because this is so true about us, and the theme song helps us remember. I am free, I am unlimited, there are no chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited, right now, right now. I am free, I am unlimited, there are no chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited, right now, right now. All right, and Susan will read our daily word. Maybe real quick though, I'll throw out there that Karen is not here today. She's not feeling good, and so Lauren's home with her taking care of her. And so we'll just hold them in the light. And our friend Jeanette, she's watching us. I can see her on there right now, but she is in Arizona. So she is, well, hopefully we'll see her next Sunday. And then
Doris
is not feeling good.
And I haven't talked to Vicki, but she's obviously not here. She's been having a lot of problems with one of her feet, so.
Okay. All right. We'll just hold them in the light. Okay. So now Susan will read our daily word.
Okay. Our daily word for today is inner peace. The Christ within is my source of peace. Advent has begun. It is a season of faith, peace, love, and joy. A time of preparing for the celebration of the Christ, the divine perfection in each one of us. The Christ is my source of peace. Whether I'm gazing in solitude at a star-filled sky or caught in the bustle of a holiday crowd, inner peace is always available to me. I am grateful for the sense of well-being that fills my mind and heart. During this season, I turn my awareness to the presence of peace in me. It is my constant source of serenity, my ballast in the storms of life. It is a steadying presence in all situations. I give thanks for the Christ within, my ever-present source of peace. From Isaiah 9:6, for a child has been born for us, and he is named Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. Our affirmation again, the Christ within is my source of peace.
The Christ within is my source of peace. Oh, that's beautiful. That was beautiful.
Appropriate.
Very, very appropriate, huh? We don't really have announcements other than it's already December. It's like so far into December. 2 weeks from today, we will have our holiday potluck, and it will be hours after the winter solstice, right? So, which happens like Friday or Saturday. I can't remember. Do you have something happening on the solstice?
No.
Okay. Okay. All right, well, my talk today, I call it Affirmation. Well, I was reading this book, all right? And it's the 11 Lessons in Truth, or something like that. And it talked about one of the lessons, laughing at me, Pearl. There was this book. Loving me. Thank you, thank you. Well, I'm reading this book, and it talks about denial and affirmation, right? And I know since I got into New Thought philosophy, like unity, science of mind, and some others, there's that idea of denial out there. And even some of the, like, the people from like the late 1800s, early 1900s who were writing all these books on like mind power, and like Joseph Murray, and Wallace Waddles and those people, they talk about denial. So now affirmations, I always could get that, right? I started, right? Who did not read this book and start getting into affirmations, right? Louise Hay, full of affirmations in here. So I read this like 20 years ago, and ever since then I've always had some affirmation just floating around in my head that I focus on, right? I've always loved affirmations. Denials, on the other hand, always just felt kind of heavy and kind of dense. They just have this yuck feeling with them. But what I thought about was that I got my sense of what a denial is from when I was in childhood. Okay? That denial was you give up comfort, you give up good stuff, because if you suffer just a little, do without, God will see you as a better person. Okay? I actually thought that when I was a little kid, right? And when I grew up, I wasn't going to be religious for a while because I wanted to have some fun. Okay? So I was going to give up religion so I could have a comfortable life. But it was really about doing without it. And I couldn't get the picture of the religious aesthetic out of my mind, where it was like the half-naked person just begging for money or food, and they didn't have shelter, they just lived outside. I must have seen some intense movie about that when I was little. But that's what I thought of when I thought about denial, okay? That was denial. It was giving up the pleasures in life, right? And not just the decadent pleasures like what my friends used to give up for Lent, right? Like potato chips and TV, okay? But it was a warm bed and pillows and soft clothing and being able to do laundry, you know, that kind of stuff. In the Bible, there is a verse, and I think this verse really helps to promote this whole idea. But Jesus says unto his disciples, "If any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me." Now, that was something else that I had in my head as a kid. Taking up your cross, that was like a heavy burden that led to death. And not just death, a torturous, prolonged, painful death. That was taking up your cross. Now, as I've done my research into the New Thought idea of denial and asked my 100,000,050 questions, what I came to understand, I know I said that all backwards in case, yeah. I just saw, Michael's like, what did she just say number-wise? 150 million. Okay, 150 million questions. But denial it's not about denying comfort, okay? It's not about denying that there's sin. It's not about denying that there's bad things in the world. Denial, under New Thought philosophy, is about denying that there is any sort of limitation in our spirit at all. That our spirit is in any way limited. That there is a way that God can't work through us. That is what we want to deny, okay? We're unlimited beings in a body, and that is how they use the term denial. And so that felt a little bit lighter. So true denying is actually moving us toward the next grandest version of ourselves, okay? True denying. When Jesus said that thing, right? If any man wants to come with me, he must deny himself and take up his cross, okay? So when he says, if any man wants to come after me, let him deny himself. Deny himself. He wanted people to stop denying their unlimited nature. That was his whole ministry, was about having awareness of what works through us. Having awareness that there is this unlimited force that works through us, which means we have unlimited ideas and inspirations coming through us. We don't have to do all this hard work with our limited nature. We have an unlimited nature. And that's all he wanted. For a man to deny himself was only to deny the limited mind. Okay, the limited mind that doesn't get any new ideas, that has to do everything the old way of doing things, right? It's like, well, this is how I did it before, and well, I didn't really like doing it that way, but it's the only way I know, so this is how I have to do it again. Jesus always had his thinking aligned with the unlimited mind. He wanted everybody else to do this also. Just be be unlimited. Jesus was never a limited thinker. When he was called to go see Lazarus, right? Lazarus, he raised him from the dead. When he got there, he didn't have the limited thinking that that appearance would give him. Death, it's an appearance. Jesus didn't say, well, this guy's dead. I haven't had to do this before. Oh, I hope this works. He didn't do that. He did not do that. He just immediately saw that it was only an appearance. Appearances are limited. That's limited thinking. The truth, though, is that as Jesus has this unlimited force working through him, so does everything else. God is everywhere present. God is everywhere present. Then he says to take up his cross. Okay, so Jesus says, first deny your limited thinking, then take up your cross. Now, in his day, taking up the cross meant being willing to risk your life. Now, the people in his day that were crucified, they were only the worst criminals ever, okay? And it was the worst death ever. It was prolonged. It was painful. People were so superstitious about the cross because of all the pain associated with it that they thought if they even touched it, all the bad mojo from the cross would flow into them and fill their lives with pain and suffering. Okay? So for Jesus to say, take up your cross, this was a huge thing because of the superstition that surrounded it, because of the pain and suffering that surrounded it. But what he was trying to get across was unlimited thinking. Okay? You have to be unlimited in your thinking. You have to be willing to take a risk. And back then, people did take a risk when they decided to change what their religious belief was. Okay, when they decided to stop listening to the priest of the temples and to listen to what this man was talking about, how God wasn't somewhere out there, God actually worked through every person. Okay, they didn't have to go to a priest to get that help because God was already in there. So it just meant to risk your life. And so for nowadays, it would be a metaphor for us also to take a risk. When we take up our cross, it is us taking a risk. It is stepping out of the comfort zone. Because any new idea that we have is going to involve risk. If it doesn't involve risk, it's really not a new idea probably, okay? It's not going to move us toward the next grandest version of ourselves unless there's a little risk associated with it. All great things that we do, we're taking a chance. If it doesn't work out, we may have some stuff to deal with. But every amazing thing that somebody has done, they've taken a chance when they've done that. Okay, so we take up our cross. We deny the limited thinking. It also is about taking responsibility for ourselves. When we start thinking that God works through us and that all goodness from God comes through us, that means we have more responsibility, right? All of a sudden, maybe we can't blame all this outside stuff on other people. We may have to take responsibility for ourselves. Okay, everything has God in it, right? It's up to us now to say, well, I see God even in this bad event. Okay, we take that responsibility on when we decide to follow the spiritual path. And that's what Jesus wanted his followers to do. Take responsibility. How many clients I've lost over the years because I will suggest this book to them? Right? You can heal your life, right? They're like, no, Deanna, I just want a massage. I don't want to have to think about this. Just massage my muscles so I can go back out and go into the world for another week, right? That's what happens though. We have to take responsibility. And that can also, that's heavy. That can be scary, okay? To think about the situation that we may be in right at the moment. The solution for that situation is going to come through us. Okay, nobody can keep rescuing us all the time. We're just going to keep finding ourselves in the same situation all the time. Okay, so we find that indwelling Spirit of God. Now, denying helps our mind make the shift from needing an outside external condition to change to realizing that it's in here. Okay, we deny that we are in any way limited. Okay, I have this going on in my life, but it is an appearance. I am an unlimited being in a body. Whatever I need to handle this thing going on in my life, it will come through me. or I will recognize how it's coming through another person and get a bright idea from them. Okay? So that is denying. That is what denying is. Denying all the limitation. Now the next step for this, to being able to really truly deny limitation, I think I'll be working on this, right? And I'll say, okay, I am an unlimited being in a body. I am an unlimited being in a body. Okay, so I'm going to pray that God helps solve this problem for me, right? I have this problem in my life. Okay, God is going to solve it. And I'm just going to take a deep breath because I know it's coming. I know it's going to be solved. Okay, I need to have a little patience because it's taking God a little longer than I thought. That is actually still limited thinking. Okay, to think I have to still wait for peace. I still have to wait for happiness. Okay, so that is still actually limited thinking. If I feel like I still have to deal with life until God answers my prayer, that's still actually limited thinking. And that was something that kind of surprised me when I thought about it. It's like, wait, I let it all go and let God do it, right? Well, it's okay if I'm impatient. I know it's coming. It's like, but that's limited thinking. And our own limited thinking will slow down the flow of good that comes through us. Limitations. So we move past that then to the next step, right? That is taking a step, okay? But then we move past it to the next step, to believing we already have everything we need. Okay, we already have it. Now this one was like, for me, it's like, what? But I don't have all my problems solved. Okay, I'm still waiting for my problems to be solved. And then I had this moment where I was doing some gratitudes, and even though there are things going on in my life that I wish weren't going on, in this moment I felt total joy and total peacefulness, total bliss in my body. I felt it. I felt it, even though my problems weren't solved yet. And that is how we get that awareness that we have everything we need already. We have God's good flowing through this. That's all we need. And we can, when we keep focused on that, the fact that our problems aren't solved yet, it won't bother us as much. Now, I felt this. I have actually felt this. So I don't stay there for very long sometimes. And then I'm like, oh, I need my beads. I got to do a bunch of gratitudes again, right? But I did this. I had, Jeanette actually did this therapy on me last week. And in the therapy, it's energy work called bars. And I got this very clear message when I was in this deep state of relaxation. Okay, I'm not searching, I'm not reaching for gratitude, I'm not asking for grace. I am gratitude. I am grace. We are all of that. God is gratitude. We are gratitude. We're an idea in the mind of God. God showers us with grace, flows grace through us. We don't have to ask for it. We have to recognize it. It's already there. It's part of us. It's what makes us. Love. We don't search for love. We don't reach for love. We don't try to find love. We recognize it. It's already there flowing through us. So we want to believe that we already have everything we need. Now, I know sometimes this can be difficult. If we are not feeling well and we're seeing that appearance of sickness in our life, okay, and it's like, I already have everything I need. Oh, I have this horrible upset stomach, right? I have a stomach ache, right? Or I have financial issues that are like really upsetting me right now, or I'm lonely, okay? If we have that going on, it can really be hard to say, I have everything I already need. Okay, to see it that way though, we're still focusing on the limitation. We're still focusing on how we're limited. Okay, we're going to move past this, right? Emily Cady in Lessons in Truth says, we have learned that God is the total of all the good in the universe, and that there is in the mind, which is God, a perpetual desire to pour more of himself, which is the substance of all good things, okay? There's the desire to pour more of himself through us into visibility. Okay, this is a perpetual desire. Perpetual is something that just keeps going, right? All the time. God is constantly in the state where it seeks to flow through us. So when we are experiencing pain, when we are experiencing worry over something, God's still there, perpetually trying to work through us. Okay? And with using denials and affirmations, we can help ourselves, our limited mind, start opening up to allow that. Okay? And that is the power of the denials. Denial cleanses our mind. Okay? So God just wants to pour through us all the time. That's all that God wants to do. God is light, life, truth, love, grace, compassion. God is all of those things. All of those things are always seeking to work through us all the time. And so all that goodness is always seeking to come through us. Whenever we need it, whenever we're experiencing difficulty, it's right there, waiting to express into our life. We're just dealing with appearances. That's all. We see something out here, or we're feeling a headache, right? It is an appearance. God is still everywhere present. God is still in all things. Even in those appearances that seem scary or worrisome, God is still in those things. Okay, so it's just appearances. We just need to remember that it's an appearance. Remember that we have everything we need right now. Several years ago, I ordered a pair of shoes from Land's End. And Land's End is my favorite catalog to order anything out of, right? And these shoes I was so excited to get. And it can take a couple weeks to get something in the mail, right? Every day I would, in anticipation, I would wait for the postman. I would go out, because he was going to have to sit them on the porch. My mailbox was too small. And I would wait for those shoes. On days when I did not get those shoes, I would not say, well, I wonder if Land's End changed their mind. I wonder if they're like, well, she's in Southern California. She doesn't need our shoes, right? These are shoes for people in cold weather. That never crossed my mind, that they would one day change their mind about giving me the shoe. And so what was interesting is I just lived in happiness and in anticipation of getting the shoe. I knew it would be there. Okay, and that is a different feeling than when I'm worrying about a problem needing to be solved and worrying when it's going to be fixed. That feels differently. Living in anticipation of receiving this thing that I know without a doubt is coming to me, I already feel happy about it. Okay, even when it hasn't made its physical appearance in my world yet. Okay? So I ordered those shoes and I got them. They were really the greatest shoe I ever had. I still have them. Now, expressing through us is all this goodness. It is not ever about denying ourselves comfort and love. It is just denying anything that is untrue, okay, which would in any way be limiting to us. That is what is untrue. We're not limited. We're unlimited beings in a body. Okay, no matter what the appearances are out here, we can feel peaceful. We can feel happy. Denials and affirmations just help us to have this experience. Okay, no matter what the appearances are, denials and affirmations help us. Now this is good because the brain believes both our imagination and the things that we perceive out here. Okay, the brain believes it all. When I was a kid, we were coloring in class, and I was chatting with my friends, coloring. My teacher said, "Deanna, be quiet." And then I had that little shame thing, right? I was like, oh, I was talking, I got in trouble. The teacher was like, thinks I'm bad. And I'm coloring, and pretty soon I start chatting again, right? And then I hear, Deanna, go stand in the corner. And I got up, and they used to do that back then. I don't know if they still do or not. I got up and I walked over to the corner and I put my little head in there. I was like, I'm shameful. I was so bad. My teacher had to, punish me. Everybody sees me standing in this corner. And I felt like that flush of embarrassment. And my teacher says, what are you doing? Well, I'm standing in the corner. No, I told you to collect the crayons. Now, collecting the crayons from all the kids is a completely different experience because not everybody gets to collect the crayons. The one special student gets to get the crayon box and go around and collect all the crayons. However, my brain believed it and flooded me with the physical feelings and the emotions that went with my perceived punishment. Okay, the brain believes these things whether they're true or not. That is why if a child in the middle of the night says there's a monster in their closet, you're not going to convince them it's not there. Okay, you may be able to calm them down. You may be able to go in the closet, but they're going to lay there and keep thinking about that monster until they finally can fall asleep. Okay, it's the brain. The brain does that. Now, denial helps us to clear those things. Our brain actually will believe, oh, I am limited. Well, I can't do that. I can't do that. We say it enough times, the brain believes it, right? We just give it a command and it believes it. It's not going to tell us we're wrong. It's not going to say, are you sure, right? It's not going to correct us. It will never correct us. Just like our computer, it won't correct us, right? It may say, you know, that word's spelled wrong. I'm going to put a red underline under it, but I'm not going to give you an alternative because you have an old version of Word. Okay? So our brain does not correct us. Now, Emily Cady says there are 4 common error thoughts. Okay? And the first thought is that there's evil in the world. There's evil in this world. Did you see all the bad things that happened? Like these bad things happened, and these were evil people that did them, right? God is everywhere present, and there's nothing here that didn't come from God. There actually cannot be evil in the world. There can be the appearance of evil, because there are people who, when channeling this force that they can't make go away, they can desecrate it and waste it. They don't have to use it for goodness. They can desecrate it and waste it. But it's still all God. Everything is all God, coming through all the time. So there really is no evil. There's just one power and presence in the world. The second error thought is, God is not here or there, okay? I see this most of the time when I talk with people about praying. I know some people who are like, oh, I prayed for a good parking place and I got one, and I prayed that I would, you know, get all these coupons and save all this money, right? But then I know people who are like, well, you know, I really wanted to pray for a new kidney for my Uncle Stan, but there's so much going on in the Middle East right now. And I'm just like, no, pray all the time, because God is everywhere. God is everywhere present. Every thought we have is going into the divine mind. We don't have to think that God's not here because God's so busy in the Middle East, right? Or busy up north or down south or whatever, okay? Or at our friend because, you know, something's going on over there. God is everywhere present. The third common error thought is that there is pain, sickness, poverty, and death. That is an error thought because that's an appearance of something. Now, when we're thinking about pain, poverty, sickness, or death, we want to pay attention to what our I am statements are. Okay? I am so broke. I am sick and tired of this weather. I am this. I am that. What are our I am statements? Okay, our I am statements, they limit us because they're not true, right? And they keep us from expressing that unlimited nature through us. To say I am broke, there's an abundance of goodness that can flow through us at any time, right? We just have to allow it through. Okay, so what are our I am statements? There is the perception around us of pain, poverty, sickness, and death. Okay, there is that appearance of it. But the truth is that God is everywhere present. When we let go of the physical body, we're just in another form. Okay, this is a thing we're doing right now as the human experience. We're an unlimited being in a body. Okay, and the body may have some limitations, but the unlimited being that we truly are, that is unlimited. And that is what works through us. And that is what brings goodness through us out into the world. So we just deny the pain, sickness, poverty, and death by remembering that it's a condition. It is not who we are. It's not who we are. The fourth error statement, I am afraid of, and you fill in the blank, right? I am afraid of my family moving in with me. I'm afraid of losing my job. I'm afraid of it raining forever and ever. I'm afraid of. There are all these things I'm afraid of. I'm afraid my hip will never feel better. I'm afraid, I'm afraid, I'm afraid. Okay, those are error thinkings. It's error thinking because we have an unlimited presence. That's really kind of the answer for all of these, right? There's an unlimited presence that works through us. That's a condition. And the thing is that with fear, the more we focus on fear, the more it's in our experience. But fear is an addictive behavior. We move toward fearful things much easier than we move toward love. That's just One of those things. I can't explain it. I just compare it to the weeds in our garden, right? We grow a beautiful garden. We've got to get out there, though. The weeds don't take any work. We have to get rid of the weeds. But the flowers, the fruits, the vegetables, that all needs nurturing, right? They need all this special care. And so that's it. That's what fear is. That's the fear. So there's truly nothing for me to fear. That's our denial. There's nothing for me to fear. The indwelling Spirit of God is greater than my fears. Henry Ford said, "Don't find fault, find a remedy. Anybody can complain." Anybody can complain. Denial is the remedy. Denial is the remedy. We have all these experiences. If we experience anger, we don't have to, if we say, "I am angry," we're claiming that as who we are. Now, we can experience anger. Sometimes it is going to happen, but it is temporary. None of us are anger. We just experience it. Who we are is an unlimited being in a body, having a big human experience. That's all. The human experience contains some anger. Now, if we're constantly affirming those things, like I am angry, I'm frustrated, I always have people walking on me. That didn't sound right, grammatically correct, I guess, but I always have people walk all over me. I'm a doormat. I'm a doormat. There's the grammatically correct version, okay? Do you know that when we're always affirming those things, not only are we affecting our hope and our optimism and our faith and goodness, we actually suppress our immune system. Okay, the immune system gets suppressed with any kind of negative emotion, because the negative emotion feels bad. Okay, to be angry feels bad in our physical body. To feel frustrated, to feel like a victim, all of that feels physically suppressing to us. Okay, so it suppresses the immune system, which then opens the door to God knows how many things, right? A suppressed immune system, that's where it all starts. And at Harvard Medical School back east, they actually have a field of study called psychoneuroimmunology, which is about mind-body medicine. And it turns out that there are certain negative emotions, that affect certain parts of the body. Okay, so there's a whole field of study on that. In the book of Mark, Christ said, "I say to you, anything you pray for and ask, believe that you will receive it, and it will be done for you." Anything. There is no person, there is no circumstance, event, no thing that can stand between us and our happiness. Okay, nothing can stand between us and our inner peace, us and our joy, us and our abundance. Okay, nothing can except us. We're it. We're the brick wall, right? When there's a brick wall, it's us too. We do that. Okay, so Jesus said, pray for it. Okay, praying is actually what we do all day long. Every thought we have goes into divine mind, right? Because we're expressing out of divine mind. We're an idea in the mind of God. What could we possibly think and put out there that God wouldn't be aware of? God's everywhere present. God's working through us. Every thought we have then is going into divine mind. So everything is a pray. So pray. Jesus says pray and believe it. Okay, what are the things we believe in? Okay, we believe that the economy is going downhill. Okay, do we believe that people are crazy? Okay, or are we believing that there's always hope? Do we believe there are solutions that could surprise us and delight us? Okay, what are we believing in? Where is our faith? Now that's where the positive affirmations come in. Okay, we use denial to cleanse the mind. We use positive affirmations to retrain us. Okay, we retrain us. In the brain, we have something called the hypothalamus, and it creates neuropeptides, which create neurotransmitters, which send messages across neurons out to cells. It's some science thing, right? The thing is that the hypothalamus creates the peptides, the neuropeptides all the time. The neuropeptides are flavored according to our emotions. Now, we always are having some emotion, right? But the interesting thing is that the cells start craving whatever the most common flavor of neuropeptide is. So if our tendency is to just be angry a lot, that's going to be the most produced neuropeptide in our body, the angry flavor. Okay, so whatever we're experiencing the most, our cells start craving it. And then our cells tell the hypothalamus. They don't ask, they tell it. Produce more of this. This is what we like the best. This is where we start reacting to events. Okay, I know, like, I would work on patience, right? And then I would do something, I'd be impatient, I'd snap at somebody, and then 10, 15 minutes later, I'd be like, why did I do that? Right? I wanted to react with patience. Well, it's my hypothalamus is all automatically sending me in that direction. Our hypothalamus is doing that right now, depending on what emotion we're creating. Okay, our hypothalamus wants to keep doing more and more of what we're doing more and more of. So it is a really good thing for us to get to the point where we're doing affirmations, because our affirmations take our minds off of appearances that stress us out. Okay, off of appearances that bring us down, make us worry, make us think the world's an awful place and everybody's a bad driver but us. Okay, the affirmations help us to do that. They teach the body to crave the positive feeling. Okay, so there's your medical reason why you want to do positive affirmations. Emily Cady says in Lessons in Truth, God is forever in process of movement within us, that he may manifest himself, which is all good, more fully through us. Our affirmation, backed by faith, is the link that connects our conscious human need with his power and supply. So our affirmation helps to bring those things into our life that we do need. Okay, we do need them. But when we feel like we need something to make us happy and we can't be happy without it, that's limitation. Okay, the affirmations help us to get to a place where we're just happy anyway. When that thing comes to us, we're like, well, that was awesome anyway. That's awesome. I'm feeling awesome. I was awesome before I got it, but it's awesome that I have it now. Okay, so the affirmations help us to just feel good no matter if that thing is with us yet or not. Okay, but we don't want to feel like we need something or we're not going to survive. Right? I need this new iPad with an attached Zag keyboard, right? Or I'm just gonna have such a hard life, right? Abundance is our birthright. Okay, abundance is our birthright. We don't need anything to be happy except to connect into our source. Now we are meant to have life and we are meant to have it abundantly. Okay, we are meant to have it, but there's a little twist in this adventure of affirmations, and it's to feel abundant. It is to believe we already have everything we need. We can only really believe that when we're doing the denials and the affirmations, even when appearances are to the contrary. Okay, we still have to be able to believe that. Okay, that is the twist in this. We've got to believe. So denial cleanses us. Positive affirmations retrain us. And we just deny the limited nature. Okay, we deny the limited nature, we affirm the spiritual nature. We deny evil, we affirm goodness. We deny weakness, we affirm strength. Okay, the affirmations help to retrain us. And I keep saying this over and over again because we don't want to start depending on denials. Okay, that's not true. There is no evil. There is no evil. There is no evil. There is no evil. Because that becomes an affirmation, the brain doesn't hear a negative command. And we start having the appearance of evil. So we just do a denial and then many affirmations. Okay? The denials, though, are good because they show us where our limited thinking is. Okay? If we look at our I am statements. Okay, did I just say I'm limited in any way? Okay, the denial shows that. So we use the denials to find our limitation. We clear it out, and then we move to the affirmations. My phone scans so easy, and I hit the thing and it went all the way to the end. The thing about our affirmations, they have to be believable for us. I used to have this affirmation, I'm a millionaire. I'm a millionaire. And I'd be like, oh, I'm not a millionaire when I look at my bank account, right? So that affirmation didn't feel good to me because it always reminded me I didn't have that $1 million. Okay? But a lot of people do use that as their affirmation. So they need to be good, they need to feel believable and positive. So we state what we want, not what we don't want. What we don't want is the denial. That's our denial, something we don't buy into because it's not a spiritual truth. Okay, but with our affirmation, we don't ever say what we don't want. I think I've told this story before too. One of my very first affirmations when I wanted to lose weight, I don't want to be fat. That was my affirmation. I do not want to be fat. I'm not fat. I'm not fat. I'm not fat. That was it. Right? Which just gave me more of fat, 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 fat. So say that we're sick. Okay, we're sick. So our denial would be, sickness is an appearance. It is just an experience. And then our affirmation could be, I am feeling better every day. Okay, even if you still have a horrible upset stomach, you can say, my elbow feels great. Right here does not hurt. Okay, this is doing wonderfully. Okay, I'm just getting better and better every day. If we're in financial distress, we deny there is no such thing as poverty. Okay, it is an experience, it is an appearance. The affirmation could be, prosperity comes to me in fun and interesting ways. Okay, we never know where prosperity is going to come from. We never know where that goodness is going to come from, how it's going to express through us. That force is always seeking to work through us. Always seeking to work through us, perpetually seeking to bring goodness out into the world. If we are limiting ourselves, it's only because it feels normal for us. It feels normal. It's a habit. Okay? Denial and then using affirmations help us change what feels normal. Okay? And that is why they are so important. Okay, we want to feel a new normal, right? The new normal. I am an unlimited being in a body. How is God going to surprise me and delight me today? You know, when I used to say that, it felt really weird. I was like, what? God doesn't surprise people? That's what I would think, right? It felt really not normal to say that. But now I say it so often now without thinking about it. I will like say it in line at the grocery store and somebody will just be like, what are you talking about, right? But it felt normal and natural to me. And that's all I care about. That's all I care about. If something doesn't feel normal, or if feeling limited feels normal, it's not okay. That's not okay because it keeps us stuck and it keeps us small. So we use the denials and affirmations. They get us to a point where we don't have to consciously depend on them anymore. That's the nice thing. Where we used to just say, man, this is going to be a horrible drive. Then we'll say, what am I going to learn on my drive today? What am I going to hear? Okay, what am I going to hear? I'm going to leave you with this last affirmation that I found that I think is so beautiful. God in me is infinite wisdom. That wisdom tells me just what to do. Okay, that wisdom tells me just what to do. So until next time, remember that you are an unlimited being in a body. You are a divine child of a loving creator, and you are a force for good. With every beat of your heart and with every step you take, you are radiating light and love out into the world. And everything you do, you are blessed. And so it is. Amen. Amen. We will, honey, could you grab the prayer box? Thanks, babe. We're going to send some loving energy out there. And we'll keep Doris and Vicki and Karen in mind over this next week. Okay, and then there's some prayer in there too. So just take a moment, just close your eyes and feel that unlimited presence that is within you. Unlimited, ever expansive, complete goodness and love. Always perpetually working through you its greatest desire to express into this world. And we think about the people that we know that have a prayer request right now. Friends, people we don't know yet, loved ones. The prayer's in this prayer box and the prayer's in mind. And we remember that everybody who has a request right now is an unlimited being in a body. And that goodness and light and life and truth always seek to work through them to bring goodness into their lives. We see them as already healed and whole because that is the divine truth. They are whole. They are an unlimited being in a body. And we think about any worries or concerns that we might have. And we just put those out there too to Spirit. We just ask for that wisdom within us, that indwelling Spirit of God to fill us, remind us, inspire us, to tell us just what we need to do in any given moment. And we just let that indwelling Spirit of God work through us, for the highest good, for ourselves and all beings everywhere. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. Amen. Thank you. All right, well, shall we gather into our circle? Thank you for being here.